WhatsApp doing numbers. Hey, all around the world, got my WhatsApp doing numbers.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This your man Marcus A. Brown, and today we're doing a story time review on a TikTok titled Passport Bros in Colombia by Erica Retro Games. Here's a TikTok right here. I also put the link in the description if y'all want to go check her out. I came across this on TikTok and I was interested by the Passport Bros title, obviously. And I ain't gonna hold y'all. When I first saw this, I thought this is gonna be the everyday cookie cutter. My ex left me for a third world country. He's out here taking advantage of these poor, desperate, uneducated, dirty foot prostitutes or whatever. This was nothing like that. I consider it a cautionary tale of what not to do when you traveling overseas or whatnot. She's no longer with this guy, so obviously she shared the story and it's getting some attention. We'll jump right into the story and I'll give my thoughts throughout the video.
My ex-boyfriend went on a guy's trip to Colombia years ago when we were still together. And I was like, I don't think you should go to Colombia with these guys because they're single and they're gonna use prostitutes. And he's like, oh, I don't do that, don't worry, like I'm not gonna do that. I was like, okay. He's like, I don't do that, I've been to these countries before, sometimes the guys do it, but I don't do it, I've never done it. And I was like, okay, fine. I wasn't happy about it. I was like, this is a really bad idea, I don't think it's safe, some Americans are getting killed in Colombia. And he went anyway.
Yeah, we all gotta hear that.
So then of course, I'm like minding my own business. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Two things. I don't know this brother's ethnicity. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's of a lighter or darker complexion than I am, but let's just assume he's a brother from another mother. This goes to show you that some of everybody from some of everywhere goes overseas, including places like Colombia. Just last week, we had to respond to Big Zesty, who wanted to paint this narrative that it's only brothers, it's only Black American men, and it's a whole bunch of Black American men going to these third world countries to take advantage of these poor, desperate, uneducated, dirty foot women. That's not the case. Brothers are late to the party. We just stand out. Whenever brothers are overseas or on the internet, we stand out. We get a certain type of attention. We get received in a certain type of way, which is not a bad thing. Second thing I want to say is kudos to her, man. It's not a lot of ladies nowadays that are okay with their guys going on guys trips. Girls trips is another thing that's been going on forever. So even guys are late to that party in terms of planning these guys trips. So let's continue.
And I suddenly get like a text from him and he's sharing his location with me and he's like, hey, could you keep an eye on my location for a while? I'm kind of in a shady area. And I was like, okay, what the F is going on? And so what had happened is
mistake.
They had chartered a boat in advance while they were planning the trip. They pre-arranged for working girls to be on the boat. There was like they were in touch with a madam on WhatsApp and they had a catalog of which
madam, that don't sound good.
To bring on the boat. Okay, so I knew about this in advance of the trip and I couldn't stop my boyfriend from going. He was being so open with me. He's being like, okay, the guy.
Let me go back to the madam thing. That's a big red flag to me. I don't have any experience with that. I would not recommend it. Anything to do with a madam or a pimp or a big brother, big cousin, I want to introduce you to my cousin, I would stay away from that. It's not necessary. If you go into these other countries, especially if you in a red light district or you looking for that particular kind of activity, you can meet these chicks on your own. You can go to the beach, you can go to the bar, you can go to the clubs. Anything to do with a matter, like that sounds sex trafficking to me, and I don't want to be associated with nothing like that. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. That's a red flag to me, dealing with madams and pre-arrangements and stuff like that.
Guys are like arranging for girls to be on the boat. Me and I'm getting a girl because we have girlfriends, but I just want you to know, I was like, okay, I'm really uncomfortable with this, but like again, I don't want to be a controlling girlfriend. And then every night he's calling me.
Shout out to her for
like,
that.
oh, tonight they brought home like 3 hookers to the house, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, like what the, I was just like, this is crazy, right? And again, I'm just like keeping my cool. He starts sharing his.
So I think it's a good thing that he's in communication with his girl at the time, but this whole play-by-play, this is what's happening, that's what's happening, that's what's happening, especially if you're giving her things to worry about. Why are you doing that, bro? Like that's asking for arguments. That's asking for never again. You're not gonna go on any more guys trips. You keep fear-mongering her like that. Let's see what happens.
Location. What is going on? Please tell me. I'm so worried. What's going on? Like, I'm so freaked out. And then he's basically like, there's some trouble with the boat company. So basically they were swindled. Follow for part 2.
She already didn't want you to go on a trip. Now you just got her worried for no reason. Let's go to the second part.
Boyfriend went on a guy's trip to Colombia. So they rented a Airbnb type situation and they had to have a guard who worked security. So the whole time that they're staying in this place,
that's smart.
Security guard. And why did this come into importance was first night when the guys he was with brought back prostitutes from the club they had gone to. The next morning, the guard's like, that girl you brought last night?
So I'm a little confused because I don't know if this the same day or a totally different situation, but she mentioned madams at one point in the story, but now they got girls from the club. I recommend going to the clubs or going out basically anywhere, grocery store, anywhere. What happened in between there, between the madams and the club girls? I don't know. But I do think that having security is smart. I'm gonna run it back a little bit.
Club they had gone to. The next morning, the guard's like, that girl you brought last night, she's really dangerous. She hangs out with XYZ people. You not bring her back here. It was basically like an ultimatum, like, do not bring back her. And honestly, you should be checking with me before you bring anyone in the house, kind of thing. And they're like, oh, okay. So that shows you that there are girls who have a side hustle where maybe they're working as a prostitute, but then they're also coming into your rental and they're going to rob you.
Yeah, so those are the stories that go viral. Guys getting drugged, robbed, and things of that nature. I think the security is a good look. It protects both parties to a degree. The girl has some sense of security because they know you, they know where you stay, they got your information, so you're not gonna do her wrong. They have her information. So a lot of places that provide security, they're gonna ask for the girl's ID and make sure that she's legal, y'all not doing no underage crap. If something happens to you, you go missing, or she comes out the room and you still upstairs, they want to know that everything worked out before she gets that ID back. So it kind of protects both parties. That's a safer option as opposed to meeting some chick out in the street, then going to some location that she recommends with no security, or you taking her somewhere with no security. So I don't think the security is a bad thing. But yeah, if the security is telling you they know this chick and you shouldn't be bringing her here, I would trust the security. That's why it helps to have friends, because if it's bad apples, like, yeah, the people that live there know.
Or they're gonna then tell their connections to rob you. So the first night, so then he's like, again, I'm getting so many juicy details. Like, oh, the girls who came the first night, they're dangerous, but they were really fun in bed, okay? It's like, okay, so the second night they bring home like classier.
Why are you telling your girl that? I mean, so I don't know who's saying that, if that's his friends talking or him just talking, relaying a message from his friend. Why are you, like, I see why she broke up with him. We don't know why they didn't work out, but that's some goofy stuff. Why is he even saying that? That's not something you say to your girl that you left to be on a gas trip in Colombia.
There are girls who are approved by the security guard, but they're apparently boring, okay? They wouldn't do that much. It's like, okay. So again, I'm getting like details, which is just make me feel better that he's being so open. I'm just kind of being like, this is really messed up.
Also, let me say this too. I'm all down for the open communication and whatnot, but when you start sharing stuff like this with your girl, if y'all don't work out, you know she gonna put your business out there. So you know she gonna tell this story. So like, it's just, it's unnecessary.
From my perspective. Because I'm thinking, like, these women are kind of exploited in the sense that they don't come from money. They have no money. They're in this profession because that's all they can do to make money. Or it's the easiest way for them to make money in their country.
Some of them, yeah.
Not that many economic opportunities. So the day the boat comes. Now, background on the boat. They had someone, whoever was arranging the trip, prearranged this. Now, how much do you think it should cost to have a boat chartered for the day that comes with the captain and maybe another crewmate, right? How much should that cost to have a boat take you out for, let's say, 6 hours? You know, get on the boat, take you to a lunch somewhere, and then take you back.
Probably like a stack.
Yeah, maybe it's a bigger boat.
11,
guys
12.
plus the girls they hired, right? How much should that cost? So in my mind, and remember, this is Colombia. The American dollar goes very far. So it shouldn't be American prices. But I'll tell you, I once went to Italy, in Capri, which is like a very expensive part of Italy, and we had a small boat chartered with one captain, and that for the whole day was like $1,000. Okay?
Okay.
And that's Italy. It's expensive.
Nice.
This boat for the day was $10,000.
What? 10 stacks US? Yeah, they getting ripped off, man. That sounds crazy. Matter of fact, hold on. $10,000 US. I don't know what type of bread these dudes got. I don't know what type of budget they working with, but like, even if I had it like that, that's too much. How much would it be to rent a private boat rental for 15 people for one day in Cartagena, Colombia?
On average, renting a private boat for 15 people in Cartagena for one day costs between $650 and $1,300.
$1,500 on the high end. 10,000, that's, yeah, they getting ripped off. They getting finessed. That happens to a lot of first timers and a lot of weekend warriors that just gotta go somewhere and flex and be big baller. Maybe they got it like that. I don't know. But I'm telling you, even if I had it like that, and you know people, you're not paying that much. They getting finesse.
A lot of money for a country like Colombia. So already going into it, the people who are negotiating these prices with them are basically pulling a fast one on these, like,
they putting premium on top of premium on.
It's like, oh, how much is a boat for the day for the day? It's like, oh, $10,000, and they're just like, okay, because we're splitting it between like 12.
I'm sorry, man. 10,000. I can't get over that. 10,000 US, like for 10 bands, G. Y'all could have went on a gas trip and came back and took your girl on a couples trip. Like 10,000. I'm thinking that's multiple trips. You spent that on one day. I understand they split the bill, but y'all spent that on one day on a boat. That's crazy.
Guys,
in Colombia.
So then, how do you think they got the girls who came on the boat? Well, when you're booking the boat, you're like, so do you know any like girls we could get to like come on the boat?
Yeah, see, that's that prearranged stuff. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that. Usually when I've been on a boat, twice, and it's usually with girls that you already know. If it's people that offer stuff like that, I can see that with models. You can do the same thing in the States. If you're just paying some chicks to party, these like the IG models and stuff. Why was this 10 stacks? And why did it all have to be prearranged? You could just freestyle a lot of this. All you need is to make the boat rental, and you and your guys and y'all all got y'all little friends or whatever. Yeah, they getting finesse.
And then the guys are like, oh yeah, here's the number. You send her a WhatsApp and you can, like, you know, she'll arrange the girls for you. So that's how they get in touch with the madam, who then is sending them the catalog of girls that are pre-arranged for the boat. Again, inside job is my point. So they have the inside job, the girls being pre-arranged, pre-chosen. Okay. So they get on the boat, and remember, I'm not looped into this story until everything goes wrong. So I'm like, okay, minding my own business, trying to just like keep busy over the weekend because I know that my partner is literally in Colombia with a bunch of guys using prostitutes. So again, just being like, whatever, like I trust him, I trust him, I trust him, I trust him. Okay. So I start sharing the location. Okay. And so what happened is the boat company takes them to a restaurant and they have some drinks, they have some hookah, a meal, whatever. At the end of the meal, when the check comes, it's absorbently expensive, like thousands and thousands of dollars. And they're like, this should not be that much. Like, this is how much, like, you can literally see on the like, how much they ate and how much they drank. It's Colombia. You know, how much should this meal cost? And it was clearly also inside job. So the boat company takes them to a restaurant. The restaurant knows that these are like drunk American dudes that they can then rip off. The restaurant then says, we're going to charge you XYZ to have eat in here. They're like, we don't have that kind of cash with us.
We need
So
our
what happens?
money.
Okay, I know this trick, the bar scam. I've had experience with that, not in Colombia, not in Dominican Republic. I had a similar setup. It was in Athens, Greece, of all places, a European country. So this happens all over the world, not with a boat though. Basically, you go somewhere, they lure you in, or they make you an offer for some type of deal. You go in there and you don't see any prices listed. And by the end of the day, they start throwing in a bunch of extra stuff, or they just come up with this ridiculous price, but it wasn't negotiated and you have no proof of it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't in writing. So travel tip, it don't matter what country you're going to. If the prices aren't listed, that needs to be written down in some type of way. They'll let you have a good time. They'll run up the bill, buy you drinks, bring you all type of stuff, tell you, oh, this is on the house. That's a finesse. So yeah, I hate that they fell for that. If y'all Google Greece, Athens, Greece, bar scam, like look that up. That's the same trick. They just did it on a bigger scale with the boat.
Start getting into like, well, you better pay us. You need to.
In the restaurant.
They're like, we don't have the money. And they're like, well, you better take us then to an ATM and pay us or else. Okay?
We need our money.
Can you look at the dangerous situation? No? So he starts sharing his location. He wouldn't have done this unless.
That's what happened when you don't have the prices listed and you don't prepay. You know what I'm saying? And have some type of proof of that payment, because they will call the police on you, or they will just leave you wherever you at. If they on a boat ride on an island somewhere, you're like, hey, you gotta pay us this or we leaving your ass on the island. That's tragic.
He was actually scared. Okay, I want you to know. Is he a bit of a scaredy cat? Yes. However, your girlfriend, who was like very against you going on the trip, to have to tell her that you maybe made a mistake by going on this trip, the only reason he actually did it, he was literally scared. So they're coming off the boat, they're kind of drunk. He's now being taken to an ATM. So a few of the guys stayed and went together. So it wasn't like he was alone, but most.
Hey, to the bros watching this, how many times have you seen the drunk certain people at the ATM. It happens to a lot of first timers and weekend warriors, but people that travel on a regular basis, that stay these extended amounts of time, we're not out here getting drunk and we're not out here trying to ball and flex. That makes you a target. You know what I'm saying? You're not impressing anybody by trying to live lavish. You're supposed to go and just kind of blend in with the people and just be cool. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens when you want to be a big baller. I don't know they budget, but it don't matter how much money you got. If you got to do everything top tier, they're gonna put a premium on that.
So the guys went back to their hotel or whatever with two other guys. Were being taken by the boat company, whatever, to an ATM.
They're like, y'all owe us some money.
We need our money!
And they did pay them. Now I think they negotiated something, so they didn't like pay them the full amount that they had asked, but it was still like
whatever the full amount they asked, like they gave you an outrageous price to begin with. So even if you paid less than that, you still paid more than what you probably would have if you would have been with some locals or with some people that live there. That's crazy.
More money than they should have paid, considering that they had already paid $10,000 for the boat, considering they had already paid.
Imagine getting ripped off and you still think it's a deal. That's messed up.
I think each girl was like $750 for the day.
Woo!
Your companionship and one service.
I ain't even got no comment. That's insane.
Okay. So they had these girls on the boat. They had to pay, and then now they're having to pay this restaurant extra, basically, than they should have had to pay. And so they're doing that. He's like, oh, just keeping an eye. And so I'm texting him, like, what the F is going on?
And look, and he telling his girl all of this. Like, you look like a clown right now. That's worse than the never mind. Let's go. Let's go.
Like unalive. Like I'm like freaking out. Okay. Like I care about this man. I love this man. This man is my life. You have to understand. And so him to be like, I'm in harm's way right now. Do you understand? I'm not in that country with him. I can't protect him. I can't do anything but watch his little location on my phone.
Right.
That is scary. And I'm like, please update me when you're safe. Please update me when you're safe. Like, please let me know if everything's okay. Like, please keep sending your location in case it's lagging. Like, share the actual, like, businesses. Take pictures of where you are. So if I, like, I was like, here's the U.S. Embassy number. Like, I'm freaking out, okay? We're home now. And he was scared. It was their last day in the country, by the way. So he was like, they didn't go out that night. He was just like, I just want to go home. I just want to get out of this country. He was like looking over his shoulder thinking like these guys were going to come back to get them to try to get more money or worse, do something worse to them because they didn't.
All right, let me say this before I forget while it's on my mind. God damn. As far as I can't wait to get out this country, this don't sound like a good trip. Like I've never felt like that on the last day. Usually it's the opposite. On your last day, you're supposed to feel like, dang, it's the last day. I don't feel like going home. He's saying he can't wait to get home. So this don't sound like a good trip. Other thing I want to say, again, I don't know this dude. We haven't heard his side of the story, but I've been on trips with guys, married guys in relationships, and they are loyal or they do just come just for the fellowship and to, you know, be on a vacation with the guys. They don't have to participate in whatever's going on. So there are brothers like that. But why are you reporting all this stuff back to your girl? Whatever's going on. They obviously broke up. So now she's just sharing the story and she's sharing all the tea. I would travel with maybe a different group of friends. You need to know who you're traveling with. You need to know what type of money they got. You need to know how they are when they drunk. You need to know how they are when they mad. You need to know if they need to show off, if they got to be the center of attention, because that's going to attract a certain type of attention that you might not want. You need to know these things. So I don't know what type of guy this is, but it seemed like either him or the friends, the company he's keeping is like putting him in a bad situation. Be mindful of who you're traveling with.
Pay the full amount. And so then finally, like the next day when he's on the plane, he's like, okay, I'm on the plane, I'm safe, I'm coming back, thank God. And I told you so. Now, there's more to the story. And
you never want to put yourself in a position where she could say, I told you so, but I get it. There's some innocence and just want to go on a guy's trip, but she didn't want you to go to begin with. Shout out to her again, because like I said, I consider that a blessing compared to the chicks nowadays that just will raise all hell if you even suggest going out with the guys. Not even out the country, just going on a guy's trip. So that says a lot about her. Shout out to her that she was willing to, you know, stick around for that.
That later on, because this all happened, I was like, I gotta look through the phone now. I gotta look at this chat. I gotta know what was going on. And one other detail I want to tell you is that usually on these guy trips, they like post a ton of pictures, like group photos, them showing off what they're doing, whatever.
As far as going through the phone, he created that situation for himself. I don't know if they were doing that beforehand, but that's like a big no for me. I don't go through people's phones. I respect people's privacy. I honestly don't care what's in a chick phone. If we're dating, I don't care pictures you liking. I don't care who you texting, who texting you. You can share that with me if it's something you want to tell me about. But I'm not ever finna say, let me go through your phone, because I don't want you telling me that. If you go through my phone, you're gonna find something. You're gonna find somebody texting me. You're gonna find some old stuff. You're gonna find some picture I like. So like, let's not even go there. Let's respect each other's privacy and trust and loyalty and respect and whatnot. But yeah, once a relationship goes in that direction where y'all gotta go through each other's phone, the insecurities rise, it's like downhill from there. So, but he brought that on himself, if you ask me.
A few times where a guy would post a story, but it was of like the sunset or of the out, like no one on the actual boat, because they couldn't photograph the boat because there were girls with them. They had to photograph the sea.
That's a problem with guys in relationships and guys that lie about what they're doing or where they're going. You don't have to worry about that if you're just honest about what's going on. That whole, I'm just posting the sunset, nothing wrong with that. But that whole secrecy thing, or sometimes like I might be somewhere with guys and they like, oh, I can't be in the picture. Like, don't get me there because my girl don't know I'm here. Who problem is that? You being a liar, G. Like, whether you messing around or not, the fact that you gotta lie about where you going because you worried about what other people think, I don't want to be around people like that.
There will be a part 3.
Let's go to part 3.
Got scammed in Colombia. Part 3. And I brought receipts.
This is the last part, y'all.
Airbnb, which I guess used to be a hotel, and now it's been converted into an Airbnb.
It's a nice spot.
Nice kitchen.
So that's a nice spot. I've been on guys trips in villas where that type of space was appropriate. But again, this is all a sign to some people that want to just live it up and ball all out. But what you're doing is making yourself a target. You're not impressing the locals like this. You just asking for a premium, or you're asking to get ripped off.
Pool. Says it's basically your own private hotel. I go, that's pretty cool. He goes, need you here to play piano, because yes, I play piano. Aw, so sweet, right? And then he's making small talk just about we're making plans for the future.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm still mad about that 10 stacks on a boat. Like, that could have been multiple trips, man. I would have did the guys trip, came right back, did a trip with my girl. Y'all tweaking over that 10 racks.
We went out. We're gonna be back.
So like, if that was 10,000 for a day on the boat, I don't even want to know how much that Airbnb costs.
You would love the music here. It's all salsa reggaeton. Leaving now, because he would call me every night. He says ended up working all day. I'm like, oh no. He's like, finally at happy hour. Sends me a picture of the sunset. He says, miss you and love you. Big day tomorrow. Blurred lines came on, gotta be wild or something. I don't know what I'm saying. He's like, everyone's asleep. We have to leave at 8:40, so everyone's saving up. And then I'm at a party or something. He's like, so is the band good? I'm like, yeah, I should rest. And then begins the sharing of the location. This is the day that he's on the boat. Sharing my location because we are getting off the boat in a shady place. Okay, I'm like, screenshot it. It's not coming up. It's so shady. Show me on a map. So then I have.
So is this dude only sharing his location when he's like worried about coming up missing or something? I have done the sharing locations before. Like, I don't care if my significant other knows where I'm at. Yeah, this is where we are. Why is he cutting it on and off?
Have him send me a pin. I go, I see it now. How long will you be there? I will text. Don't have a choice. Stay monitoring. I say, okay, shit. He's like, can you see my location? Yes. Avenida Chile near Calle Ocho. You're on the move now. Are you in a car? We're going to the grocery store to resolve our
in the hood.
I say, this looks like the most dangerous neighborhood of Cartagena. I'm looking at Google reviews, basically. The street views are god-awful. I was looking at street views. He's not about that. It's actually the boat company.
Yeah, the barrio.
I'm like, oh, you're getting more. And I say, you're getting more money from the ATM for the horse. Okay, maybe I was, just gotta throw it up. No, not that. But they're asking for way more for the boat. Yes. I'm like, oh, bait and
we still on this boat.
Hey,
oh
bro,
my
come
God.
on now,
He's
dog.
like, we're back on land. I'm like, can't you just taxi home?
Man.
Yes, but we are still resolving the money issue. Think we have a solution, but have to go to the grocery to resolve. That doesn't make sense to me, but I hope you can explain it later. I can, but not over text. Just monitor for now. I'm like, here's the Colombian embassy number.
They owe somebody some money. He think he finna come up missing.
Waiting outside the store to pull more cash. Are you all together? 3 of us. The others are back at the house. Oh, so it's like an ATM situation. Yes-ish. See, again, I never got the whole story here. but I have so-and-so here to support. Okay, I hope it's not too much more money. Sounds like a tough situation. And then home. I was so scared. I was so sad. I was so heartbroken. Like, just...
This off subject, but I love the manicure. I like the length. I like the colors. We done seen her looking different and doing the makeup and stuff, but yeah, this is a nice looking, lovely lady. She ain't got the eyelashes doing all this and stuff. She cool. I rock with her, man. Don't tell Dr. Umar I said that.
Black queens forever, snow bunnies
it's not
never.
nice. And just imagine in reverse, if I went somewhere dangerous with my friends and then started texting him my location and was like, please monitor me, I'm scared.
Right.
And then he wouldn't have any way to do anything about it and would be scared about it. But the difference is I don't try to put myself into those situations. I purposely don't go places where I think I'm gonna get into trouble. Obviously anything can happen.
Again, I don't know if this was his idea or he just going along being a good sport for his friends, but you gotta be mindful of the people you're traveling with. Maybe he was just that good guy that just wanted to hang out with his friends. You need to know if your friend's gonna have you in situations like this and avoid it. So I agree with her on that.
Anywhere, and there's bad people everywhere. But I purposely don't go places where I'm thinking it might impact the people in my life who I love and who love me. And that's the part of it that is a selfishness, because it's known for what it was. And I want to point out that when they were arranging the trip and all the guys were starting to arrange for their services in advance, there was a married guy who pulled out of the trip. He had a pregnant wife at the time. And I remember my ex telling me, like, so-and-so pulled out. He said, like, he couldn't handle the temptation. He's like, but for me, I don't have that problem at all. See,
Get out of here.
And I'm not tempted at all. And I'm like, you're taking everything at face value. Don't you realize that that guy is actually not going? Because I'm sure his wife put her foot down and was like, if you go on this trip, you're not going to be welcome back in our home. And he didn't.
I couldn't handle the temptation. What is he saying? He not used to being surrounded by beautiful women or something? You don't have the D discipline? Yeah, she's saying that's cap. She's saying stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
No, your wife told you can't go. I got friends that cannot travel with me. I could barely get them out the house. You think their wife gonna let them go to another country with me? And I'm the responsible one, and they can't go nowhere with me. Again, kudos to her for at least being a good sport and saying, yeah, go on your guys trip, just bring your ass back. You know what I'm saying? And he couldn't even do that right. He gotta give her play-by-play of all these dangerous situations.
You don't want to admit that to the guys because you don't want to ever sound like the old ball and chain, you know? So instead, it's like, make it seem like, oh, I wouldn't be able to resist. I need to stay faithful to my wife.
Yeah, that's cap.
Stop the cap.
You're gonna go on a trip with the guys that you're with are actively arranging for prostitutes in advance, and she was probably like, oh, F no, especially not while I'm carrying your child. So to me, that's kind of the mature thing to do.
Can't necessarily argue against that.
Is involving prostitutes for the single men. So here's what I did next. I did what any normal, American woman would do when processing the breakup that eventually happened. I wrote an album. And what did I do? I wrote a song called Boys Weekend.
Y'all gotta check this out. This is crazy.
Saturdays for the boys. Saturdays for the boys.
Remember when you shared your location on your boys' weekend vacation? Maybe Cartagena wasn't as safe as you thought. It didn't help that the boat girls were bad.
Hey. We gonna run this back. So this ain't a rap diss. She did a 1940s jazz swing diss on this man. And look, her TikTok has nothing to do with Passport Bros. She don't even talk about Passport Bros other than this story. She sings and dances and she got all type of talent. But of course, this caught a lot of attention. So let's run this back.
Saturdays for the boys. Saturdays for the boys.
Remember when you shared your location on your boys' weekend vacation? Maybe Cartagena wasn't as safe as you thought. It didn't help that the boat girls were bad. Woo! You got swindled by a cartel or two, so you texted me to ask me to watch you. Headed to the bank to pay them off. Were you just stuck in a cliche movie plot? Boys' weekend has turned into a farce to get away from your girlfriends and your wives. just a posse of Central Florida guys. Middle-aged now, you'll never have clout. What's gonna happen when the girls find out? It's boys' weekend, there's no doubt.
Saturdays for the boys.
Don't forget the year Costa Rica went down. Lots of young paid women came from town. Photos of your group posted on the gram. Just a bunch of basic bros with farmer tans. That time in Mexico you almost got cooked. Your brother drank in public and actually got booked. A girl in BVI chose to swim away to avoid seeing your friend in the light of day. Boys' weekend has really hit the pigs. Colombia might have been too much of a risk. What's gonna happen when you're old and gray? Paying for girls to hang and play. How could you treat women that way? It's boys' weekend, but not today.
Saturdays for the boys.
So when you got back, I had to read the chat. Saw your undefended phone and typed in the code. Ladies beware if you read the chat called the boys. You may never repair all the trouble you unfurl. So be prepared to expect the worst once you read the chat. You can never go back.
Saturdays for the boys. Saturdays for the boys.
Boys' weekend really took a tragic turn. Going abroad was dangerous, I hope you learned. I heard you spent this year in Tampa Bay. A group of Florida guys hanging on a boat. Which friend of yours do I hate the most? It's boys' weekend, but not for me. I'm free.
Saturdays for the boys. Saturdays for the boys. Saturdays for the boys.
So yeah, that's her story, man. Shout out to Erica Retro Games. She's very talented. Y'all should go look at her other content. It ain't got nothing to do with Passport Bros, but as far as like singing and dancing, traveling, certain subjects she talk about is interesting too. But yeah, let me know what y'all think, man. If you're new to this channel, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We closing in on 8,000 subscribers. And if y'all want more of this content, let me know. We'll come back with some more reaction videos, and I'll holler at y'all.
Yeah, my WhatsApp doing numbers. Hey, all around the world got my WhatsApp doing numbers.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.